Can you retire early on a homestead? Math explained. Can you actually hang up the 9 to 5 for good and live off a little piece of dirt you call home? Yeah, you can, but it is not a fairy tale. It is math grit and a whole lot of peanut butter sandwiches before you get there. I have been running the numbers on my own micro homestead for years now. You know, I talk about it all the time on the channel. People slide into the comments asking the same thing every week. Can I retire early if I just buy 5 acres and grow tomatoes? Short answer, maybe. Long answer, let us walk through it together like we are sitting on the porch with a mason jar of sweet tea. First off, what do we even mean by retire early? For most folks in the United States, that means quitting the W-2 before you hit 60 and never punching a clock again. For homesteaders, it usually looks different. You are not sipping margaritas on a beach every day. You are still working. You are just working for yourself. You set the hours. You choose the chores. You decide if today is a garden day or a fix the fence day. That is freedom. That is the kind of retirement a lot of us are chasing. Now let us talk money, because feelings do not pay the property tax. The whole game comes down to 2 numbers: what you spend and what you make. If you can get what you make from your homestead to cover what you spend to live, then you are retired. Simple. Not easy, but simple. Start with your spending. This is where most people lie to themselves. They think they can live on beans and rainwater. Then the truck breaks down and the dog needs surgery and Christmas comes. You need a real number. Sit down and add up everything for a year: mortgage or land payment, property tax, insurance, phone bill, internet, gas for the car, feed for the animals, seeds, doctor visits, beer money, everything. Do not forget the random stuff. I call it the Life Happens Fund. For a micro homestead in most parts of the United States, you can get pretty lean. Maybe you are in rural Tennessee or upstate New York or out in the sticks in Texas. If your land is paid off and you are handy, your fixed costs might drop to $1,500 to $2,500 a month. That covers tax, insurance, food. You cannot grow, gas, and a little fun. If you still have a mortgage, add that in. Some of you are crushing it at $1,200 a month. Some of you have kids and need $3,500. Your number is your number. Own it. Now flip it. How does a tiny homestead make that kind of cash every month? This is where the math gets fun. You're not going to get selling a dozen eggs. You need stacked income streams. Think like a business, not like Little House on the Prairie. A micro homestead is 5 acres or less. You do not have 100 head of cattle. You have space, time, and hustle. Let us break down real examples. These are numbers I've seen work for folks on the channel and in my own life. Your mileage will vary. First up, eggs and poultry. A small flock of 25 laying hens can net you about $200 to $300 a month if you sell at farmers markets for $5 a dozen. Feed costs eat half of it. You are not retiring on that. But it is a start. Add meat birds. Run 3 batches of 50 broilers a year. Sell them processed for $20 each. After feed and processing, you might clear $1,500 for the year. That is another $125 a month. Poultry alone is now $325 to $425 a month. Not bad for a corner of the yard. Next, garden and produce. This is where your back will feel it. A 50 by 100 foot market garden can grow a ridiculous amount of food. If you focus on high-value crops like salad, mixed cherry tomatoes, garlic, and herbs, you can pull $300 to $800 a week for 20 weeks of the year. That is 6,000 to 16,000 for the season. Average it out. Call it 800 a month across the year. You will be at the market every Saturday. You will be weeding at dawn. But it pays. Microgreens. Everyone rolls their eyes, but listen, you can grow them in a spare bedroom with a shelf and some lights. A 10 by 10 space can produce 100 trays a week. Sell them to restaurants for $15 a tray. After seeds and dirt, you could clear $2,000 a month. It is work. It is every day. It is not passive, but it is real money from a tiny footprint. Rabbits, $2 and 6 does can produce 200 fryers a year. Sell them for $25 each processed. That is 5,000 gross. Feed in cages knock it down. You might net 2,500. That is another 200 a month. Plus garden fertilizer from the poop. That saves you money too. Bees, 2 hives can give you 100 pounds of honey in a good year. Sell it for $10 a pound. That is $1,000. Not huge. But it stacks. And you get wax for lip balm and candles. Another little side hustle. Value-added products. This is the secret sauce. Raw products are cheap. Finished products pay bills. Turn your tomatoes into salsa, your cucumbers into pickles, your lavender into soap, your honey into infused honey sticks, your eggs into breakfast burritos at the market. In most states, you can do this under cottage food law. A jar of jam that costs you $1 to make sells for $6. That is where you go from surviving to thriving. Now let us talk about the big one, content and education. If you are reading this, you already know. People will pay to learn what you know. Start a YouTube channel, teach sourdough, film your chicken coop build, write an ebook about compost, do workshops on your property. One viral video can pay your land tax for the year. A channel with 1,000 subscribers can pull $2,000 to $5,000 a month from ads, sponsors, and merch. It takes time. It takes consistency. It takes getting over yourself and talking to a camera. But for a micro homestead, it might be the most scalable income you have added up. Eggs and meat birds, 400. Garden 800, microgreens 2,000, rabbits 200, honey 80, value added 500, YouTube 2,000. You are at $59.80 a month gross. Knock off expenses, feed packaging, market fees, taxes. Say you keep half. That is $29.90 net. Boom. You just beat the $2,500 a month budget we talked about. Can you see it? It is not one thing. It is 7 things. You are not a farmer. You are a ringmaster. You are spinning plates. When one drops, you have 6 others still going. That is how you survive winter. That is how you survive a bad tomato blight. That is how you retire early. But hold on. We need to talk about the other side of the math. Expenses that bite you. Land in the United States is not free. Even cheap land in Arkansas or Missouri is $3,000 to $5,000 an acre. 5 acres is $15,000 to $25,000. If you finance that for 15 years at 7%, you are looking at $135 to $225 a month. Then tax. Depending on your state, that could be $50 to $200 a month. Insurance, $50 to $150. Infrastructure, you need a fence. That is $2,000. A cop, $1,000. A greenhouse, $1,500. A walk-in cooler, $3,000 if you get fancy. Water lines, a driveway, tools. It adds up fast. You could easily drop $2,000 in year 1 just setting up. If you do not have that cash, you are taking on debt. Debt kills early retirement. So how do people actually do it? They cheat the system a little. They house hack. They buy land with a small house and rent out the basement. They live in a camper for 2 years while they build. They work a regular job hard for 5 years and bank every penny. They buy raw land and cash flow the improvements. They marry someone with the same dream. They go in with zero debt. That is the real key. Debt is the ball and chain. A paid-off micro homestead with a cheap lifestyle is almost bulletproof. Let us run a case study. Meet Jake and Sarah from Ohio. They bought 3 acres for $3,000 cash. They lived in a 24-foot yurt for 18 months while they built an 800-square-foot cabin themselves for $4,000. No mortgage. Property tax is $800 a year. Insurance $600. They drive old trucks. Their monthly bills are $1,400. They run a market garden and sell plant starts in spring. They do microgreens year-round in the basement. Sarah teaches canning classes on weekends. Jake does a YouTube channel about fixing old tractors. Together they net $3,800 a month. They work about 50 hours a week each. But they take off December, they fish when they want, they are 38 and 36. They will never work for a boss again. That is early retirement. Could they do it on one income stream? No way. The garden froze out in May last year. The YouTube ad money dipped for 3 months. The rabbits got sick. If they only had one thing, they would have been toast. Diversify or die. That is the Homestead motto. Another thing nobody tells you, your body is part of the math. I do not care how tough you are. At 50, your knees talk back. At 60, your back has opinions. A micro homestead is physical. You are lifting feed bags. You are digging beds. You are chasing pigs. You need to build systems that a 60-year-old you can run. That means raised beds, not 40-inch rows. That means a chicken door on a timer. That means drip irrigation, not hoses. That means smaller animals. A 200-pound hog is a young man game. Rabbits and quail are an old man game. Plan for that now, or you will be hiring help, and there goes your profit. Health insurance is the elephant in the room. In the United States, if you are under 65 and not on an employer plan, you are buying it yourself. For a couple, that can be $800 to $1,500 a month. That can wreck your whole budget. Some folks go with health share ministries. Some work a part-time job just for benefits. Some qualify for subsidies because their taxable income is low. You have to solve this. Do not pretend it is not there. An appendix burst can cost $3,000. That is a bad day. Taxes too. When you sell a dozen eggs, that is income. The IRS wants a cut. But the good news, a homestead business has write-offs. Your feed, your seeds, your mileage to market, part of your internet, your new hoe. A good CPA can save you thousands. Keep receipts. Track everything. Run it like a business because it is one. So what is the timeline? If you are 30 today, can you retire at 40? Maybe. If you start with $5,000 cash, no debt, and a spouse who is all in, you spend 2 years building infrastructure and audience. Years 3 to 5, you scale income streams. By year 5, you could be netting $3,000 a month, and your costs are $1,500. You are free. If you are starting at 45 with a mortgage and credit card debt, It is harder, not impossible. But you might be looking at 55 instead of 65. That is still a win. The mindset shift is everything. You have to stop thinking like an employee. You have to start thinking like an owner. Employees trade hours for dollars. Owners build assets that pay them. A blueberry bush is an asset. A YouTube video is an asset. A fence is an asset. A skill is an asset. Stack assets. Every month, you should be more free than the month before. And you have to love it. If you hate chickens, do not raise chickens because the math works. You will burn out. You will quit. Then you are just a guy with 25 birds and no paycheck. Do what fits your land, your climate, and your soul. If you love baking, sell bread. If you love tools, build birdhouses. If you love talking, teach classes. The money follows passion plus math. Here's the hard truth. Most people will not do it. It is easier to complain about your boss than to start seeds in January. It is easier to buy eggs than to clean a coop in the rain. Early retirement through homesteading is not a hack. It is a lifestyle buy-in. You are trading one kind of rat race for another. The difference. You own this race. You set the track. You decide when to run. So can you retire early on a homestead? Yes. If you treat it like a business, if you stay out of debt, if you stack income streams, if you keep your costs low, if you plan for health care and old knees, if you are willing to work your tail off for 5 years to buy back 30, if you are still with me and you are fired up good, that means you might have the grit. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Track every dollar. Grow one thing, sell one thing, teach one thing, repeat it next week, but better. This is not fantasy. This is math. And the math says it is possible. And the only question left, are you willing to do the work? Hit subscribe on the channel if you want to see how we do it week by week. No fluff. Just real numbers, real dirt, and real talk. We are all figuring it out together. See you in the next one.